Today we are going to use Tinkercad sketch tool to make body tubes for a rocket that fit together perfectly, so let's get cracking. I'm going to start today really quickly at my Patreon. As you can see, I'm using an account as a free member, and we're here because of the free chats. You can find them right here, or you can find them over here. There are 4 areas where you can reach out: a design wish list, share your designs, design questions, and just general chat. Today, we're checking out this one. Now I want to highlight, you start the message down here, then when you click on it, you can see the rest of the thread. Steven requested a cool rocket where we could put the sections together. Of course, I've got a technique, so now let's go to the video. Of course, step 1 is to visit Tinkercad.com. It is a website that is 100% free. You can simply choose sign in with Google. Right here are where we store our designs. You can make 3D designs, circuits, or code blocks. Today we're going to start by simply hitting create new 3D design. I like to start by naming projects. This one is going to be called Rocket and 26. As soon as you do that, Tinkercad has already saved. It saves automatically. Now we're going to make our body tubes with the wicked cool sketch tool. When you bring it out, notice it fits in a 20 by 20 grid. I'm going to set it right there, and when it opens, I do want to highlight the sketch features. These are highlighted all the time. It has all kinds of fantastic tips that'll make you better as you work with it. You can go through these at your leisure. Whenever you're done, you can simply hit the X. If you prefer my tutorials, you can use this bit.ly right here. Now we're going to make a circle for a body tube. We're going to do that by making a diamond. I'm going to choose to go to these 4 corners. Notice that is 2 centimeters across, 20 millimeters. Whatever size you want, you can choose different. If we double click and double click again, it automatically turns that into a circle. Of course, we want a body tube, so we're going to go to the stroke, and I'm going to choose to make mine 1.2 millimeters thick. Now I want this to be on the outside. So we simply click right there, and bang, we have got a body tube. If we hit finish sketch, we can now stretch it to whatever size we want. I'm going to keep my rocket quite small so that it fits on the screen better, just simply 40 millimeters. Now let's quickly build the next stage. Check this out. Control D is duplicate. W is work plane. Work plane is where we can set the next piece. Because I set the work plane on top, if I hit D to drop, we have now got 2 sections of a rocket. I'm going to click on one just for fun and make it blue. I'm going to click on the other and I'm going to make it white, just for fun. Hit W for work plane, and I'm going to set it back down here. Now we need to connect these 2 parts. That is what Steven is asking for, are pieces that we can connect together. Here's how we're going to do that. We're going to simply hide this part. We're going to do Control D again. I'm going to choose to make the connector like this. We hit W for work plane. Let's hit D to drop to put that next one up there. And then we're going to edit that sketch. We need this one, instead of being on the outside, to simply be on the inside. If we hit finish sketch, that part now fits in there, and I'm going to sink it down a little bit. If I set my nudge to 5 millimeters and do control down arrow, that makes it 5 millimeters. If I do control down arrow again, that's 10 millimeters. I'm going to take the height that was 40, and I want to have 10 millimeters up here. So if I make this a total of 20, it has 10 millimeters below and 10 millimeters above. I'm going to set that to red. If we click right here and do T for transparent, you can see that it's underneath there just the way we'd expect. And then if we click show all, our part comes back. We can hit T for transparency on that, and you can see how the 2 parts will work together. Now there is one issue. This is going to be too tight for this to likely slide on here. Here's how we solve it. I'm going to do Control D. So I made another of these white ones. I'm going to make the second white one a hole. I'm going to take its height, and I'm going to simply make it 10 so it matches that tube inside. Now we're going to turn on the awesome new toggle visibility tool. I'm going to just click right there and click on this piece so it hides it. When I click out on the work plane, that actually happens. I'm going to hit W for work plane and put that back. And let me show you what we're going to do with this. If we edit the sketch, right now it is on the outside. If we change it to center line, So this makes it easy to see. I was going to subtract half from that inside. Now we don't want to take away a whole 1.2 millimeters or zero point 0.6. We're going to take away as little as we can, which is 0.1. If we zoom in, that means it's going to subtract. That means it's going to take away 0.05 from our design, making the fit a little bit easier. If we hit Finish Sketch, we can now grab those two pieces and do Control G to group. It's hard to notice, but if you zoom in, you can see it's that much thinner, which is going to allow this shape to slide on a little bit easier. Now you need to learn the tolerances for your printer, so you should always test print. To do that, I'm going to do Control D. There's no reason for me to make this all this height. Instead of 40, I'm going to make it 10. I'm going to take this and hit D to drop. Notice because of the math I did earlier, that's the exact fit. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to make it 10 as well. So it'll just slide over that top piece. Once you've got your numbers figured out for your 3D printer, then you can go ahead and print the larger pieces. I'm going to grab all of these and let's choose Export as an STL. And I'm going to simply keep the name Rocket 26. Now we can open Bambu Lab Studio or whatever slicer you use. We can hit Add. There is my Rocket 26. I'm going to use the 0.24 draft settings, and I'm going to print it with the bubblegum PLA from Polar Filament. Let's hit Slice Plate, and we'll have this test done in about 20 minutes. One quick bonus tip. Mine printed fine, but you may want to go to your bed adhesion, turn on a outer brim so that those stay attached a little better, because I did make them quite thin. All right, so real quickly, today is all about making these tubes that fit, but I do want to show you how much fun you can have making a fun rocket as well. I'm going to back up to the Tinkercad dashboard, and I'm simply going to click this gear and make a duplicate. That way I do not break my rocket that had the real tubes. Now I need this one to be up on top, so once again, we're going to do the work plane, click on the edge of the blue one, D to drop, W for work plane to shut that off, and let me show you how to align. In Tinkercad, you simply do L for align, pick the part that's the boss, and do snap, snap to get that aligned. Now we need fins. There are awesome fins available that we can search. If you type NACA, it gives you a cool one. When you bring this out, it sets right here on the end, and we need to rotate it. To do that, you simply grab this handle. Each click is 22.5 degrees if you stay in the center. If you move outside, it's 1 degree at a time. I want 90, so I'm going to move right there. Now this has lots of parameters. I'm going to show you real quick. If we change the sweep angle to say 45, which looks pretty cool, it takes a moment to snap to that number. You do need to be patient. Sometimes you also need to type it again. I'm going to hit D to drop so it's standing on its edge, and notice it has a tiny glitch. These are math errors. If you just click on one of these pieces and change it, I'm going to say 25 as I just test. Bang! You can find a number that works, and that one does. Now to line this up, I'm simply going to make sure it's connected, because a rocket would have to be connected. I'm going to take my entire rocket and do Control up to raise it up. So that fin is down near the bottom. It also gives you a good view of how far it sticks in. Now I'm going to do Control D, Shift nudge to move it to the other side. Shift does 10 times the one that was set. And then I'm going to use the mirror flip tool to aim it the right way. Let's quickly do T for transparent and line these up a little better. I'm going to set my nudge to 0.5, nudge that one out and this one out. And then I'm going to shift select those two and do Control B to make a bundle group. The nice thing about that is I can shift select them and the tube, choose L for align, of course make the rocket the boss, and we want it to be centered. And of course we needed it centered there, which it was. Now we can take this bundle and do Control D and simply rotate it 90 degrees to get it right where we want. Once again using that 22.5 degrees, or if you hold Shift, it does 45 degrees per turn. Bang! Cool rocket fins. And now let's turn off transparent and see how it looks. Once again, the letter T lets us swap that. Now let's quickly add a sweet nose cone. I'm going to set my nudge back to 1 millimeter. Let's grab Sketch Revolve. and I'm going to set it at a 20 by 20 grid right here in the center, making sure I line it up with the middle of my rocket. The reason that is awesome is because we can come up here and we can trace the exact fit we would want. If I set my nudge to 0.1, I'm going to go inside just a tiny bit. This once again gives us the fit, so we could put this in here. I'm going to match that point, and then I'm going to come up like this. And then I'm going to hit number 2 so that I can make a Bezier curve. Click, hold, and twist to get the shape that I want. Press number 1 to switch back to straight lines. And then I'm going to hold down shift so it locks it straight. And I want to bring it down and connect those across. Bang. This one's a little bit off, so I can just click on it, and because of my nudge, use the arrow keys until it's flat. When I hit finish sketch, we have all of a sudden got a nose cone. I'm going to make it red just because I think that'll look fantastic. And let's line it up. I'm going to simply grab those two, choose L for a line, and we want it to go to the center. Notice from an angle, this is much easier to see. And of course, that one already was centered. Bang! Fun little rocket made with Tinkercad Sketch, Sketch Revolve, and the swept NASA. Now I'm still waiting for the design to finish printing, so let me show you how to make this public. I'm going to change the name to Fun Rocket 26. I'm going to go back to my workspace. As I said a moment ago, it's private, but I can switch that easily. Hit the gear, choose properties. Of course, make sure your name is how you want. Add details, mine mentions the tutorial's coming soon, and then give it tags. I'm going to type rocket, but then notice I also tag it with HLMT23. I check this design every day, so if you ever tag a design and make it public, I'll check yours out and I'll give it a reaction. You also need to pick a license. Share alike means they can have fun and modify your design. No derivatives means that they can look at it, but they cannot modify it. I'm going to leave mine at no derivatives because I'd like you to follow the tutorial. And it's 20 minutes later. Let's go test some parts. And here we are for the moment of truth. Of course, we've got the part on the bottom and we've got the part that slides over. Slides on easy enough, pulls off easy enough, but also it sticks. How cool is that? All right, so let's wrap this up. First thing I want to say is thank you, Steven, for the question. I also want to let you know you may be able to just use that part without trimming it, depending on the accuracy of your printer. It just gives you the option for how to do that. If you've got a shape with more curves, trimming off that 0.05 on each side does make the fits a lot better. Of course, I do hope you enjoyed the steps where I showed you how to quickly make it a real rocket and also how to add that awesome nose cone and make it public. If you do make an awesome design, I'd love to see you tag it with HLMT23. Finally, I want to say thanks to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget there are 3 different levels of support starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to videos. Also, make sure you pay attention for members-only posts. Also, a massive shout out to everybody that supports me via Patreon. Love how that group is growing. Of course, we're way past 350 members. Of course, it has the fantastic messaging area where you can post designs, ask questions, gain skills. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget every time you like, hype, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe. You're helping HLModTech get just a little bit bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day, and keep tinkering.